Similarly to every other niche out there, aquaponics has a variety of ways that you can make money off of this wonderful farming practice. Many people out there think that farming or selling vegetables is the only way to make money with aquaponics. While it is the prominent way, it is not the only way, and it's something that most of you need to understand, because a lot of you have skills and talents in some of these other areas that can be very useful to progress the niche of aquaponics. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Some of the variety of ways, the other ways that you can make money with aquaponics. So this is Brooklyn St. Michael with the School of Aquaponics, and we're getting ready to get right into it. So what I want to start off with first is talking about the first way that you can make money with aquaponics, and that is obviously being a farmer and selling vegetables. Now this here I call the front line of aquaponics. This is similar to any other field out there. There's always going to be a front line. Like for instance, the military, the front line is the infantry, the ones that get out there and their primary job is to use their rifle and to get out there and complete missions. So that would be the infantry. In other fields, you have plumbers, the ones that actually get out there and do the plumbing work. Electricians, the ones that actually go out there and service and do electrical work. These are the front line of any business. A doctor, the ones who actually get out there and take care of patients. These are the front line of any niche out there. Any niche is going to have their front line members and their frontline workers, and this is going to be the area which the vast majority of people are going to be in. So as far as aquaponics, the vast majority, I say about 99% of people who make money using aquaponics are going to be on the front line. You're going to be out there selling vegetables, and that's exactly where I started out in the beginning. And it's the same thing with any other niche out there. The front line is going to be where the vast majority of people start. So like I said, I started on the front line doing selling vegetables. This is back in 2015 when I started my first aquaponic commercial setup. And that's where I was making my first money with aquaponics. But what happens is I realized that that's not what I wanted to do. I didn't get into aquaponics. I initially thought I got into aquaponics to sell vegetables because when I started back in 2011, that's what I thought, that's pretty much the only way to make money with aquaponics. But then I began to broaden my horizon and broaden my perspective on things. And I found out, there's other ways, and the same thing for every other niche. It's the same thing. It's all the same pattern. Business is business, no matter what niche it is. So I started doing farming, selling vegetables. Quickly realized after about a year, a little less than a year, that that's not something that I want to do. I didn't want to spend my time selling vegetables. That wasn't really my passion. That wasn't the purpose that I wanted to serve. While that is for the vast majority of you, once again, that's the vast majority of you, that will be your purpose. It just was not mine. I didn't want to deal with customers. That's just not what interests me. I was interested more in the actual practice of aquaponics, and I wanted to deal with other people that had the same interest, which is why I got out of that, and I didn't want to deal with customers who just wanted to eat vegetables. That's just not what I was interested in. So which leads us to the next form of a way that you can make money with aquaponics, and that is by teaching. This is another way, and every other niche and every other category or any other business also has the same thing. So teaching is another form of a money-making avenue that you can go down when you're doing aquaponics. Same thing with plumbing. You have your plumbers and all these the other ones that I'm going to name, all the other ways that you can make money. They're all there to support the front line. The front line meaning the aquaponic grower, the farmer, or the plumber, or the doctor, or the lawyer. Any one of those. They're all meant to support that person. So we have the teaching. You can set up schools, and that's the same thing with any other niche. Like I said, you have your plumbers, you have your plumbing school, the technical trade school, which trains the plumbers to get out there to go and work on the front line. You have your medical schools, which train the doctors to get out there and work on the front line. Same thing with the electrical schools and any other niche you can think of. You're always going to have the school and the teaching aspect and the consulting aspect, and that is another way that you can make money with aquaponics. And that is where my passion was at, and which is why I transitioned into going into the teaching area and solely focusing on the teaching area for the most part. And some of you have the talent for that. But the vast majority of people, you won't be interested in that. It's much more difficult. All the other categories are going to be much more difficult to make money than being on the front line. The front line is going to be way more easier to make money. It's just the nature of the game. So you have that. You have the school where you set up, you teach. You have to have these people in place to further the practice of aquaponics and to get people out there equipped with the skills needed to go out there and serve their purpose of being on the front line. Same thing. I was the same way in the military. The job that I had the most passion for that I did was I was a marksmanship instructor. So I would teach people how to shoot the rifle, how to be a marksman, how to use their pistol correctly. That's what was my main passion. I love that job more than any other job that I did in the Marine Corps. That was the job that I looked forward to doing, instructing and teaching. That is my passion. That is where I'm the most skillful at. So that is where I ventured off into my own area. And a lot of you will have your own passion. A lot of you have your own skill set. And that is exactly what I would recommend you go ahead and pursue. You want to serve your purpose. I'm not going to sit here and do something that I want to do, that I don't want to do. I found out, I don't want to sell vegetables to people. That's not my interest. It's not my interest. So I'm not going to do that for 30, 40 years for no reason. I'm going to do something that I want to do and that I have a desire and a purpose to do. Therefore, it doesn't feel like work. Doing this doesn't feel like work at all. It does not feel like work at all. So you have your farming, which is the front line. You have your teaching, your schools, consulting. Those are all wrapped up into that area where you have that. And then also after that, you have hardware. You have hardware. And that is going to be people who design systems. You need people out there to design systems, who come up and create like a floating raft, who get floating raft systems manufactured, or NFT systems manufactured, or complete systems manufactured, or pH meters, or oxygen meters. The frontline grower is not going to have all this if you don't have people that are dedicated to that craft. You need people that are solely dedicated to that craft. That is their craft. Some of you out there do that. Some of you out there build systems. And one day maybe you will get out there and get them manufactured, and that will be your business model. That will be what you do. Maybe that's just what you enjoy doing. A good example of that is who has manufactured systems? Bright Agrotech. They manufacture systems. They have a system called the Zip Grow Tower. They manufacture that. That is one of their that's one of their business ventures right there, to manufacture the thing that growers need in order to grow. So you need someone, and once again, all these jobs are put in place, all these little segments are put in place to support the front line. That's the whole thing. It's all dependent upon supporting the front line. You're gonna need pH strips. You're gonna need, like I said, oxygen meters. You're gonna need pumps. You're gonna need you're gonna need people that sit there and just solely focus on that. And that is how they're gonna make their money. Like I said, some of you guys have the skill of designing systems. You're just naturally good at it. Some of you guys can sit there all day, design systems, and you can use those things to support the grower. Once again, these business ventures here, these business segments are much more difficult to make money in than the front line. That's why I say 99% of you are going to be on the front line. It's just the way it is. It's the nature of the game. It's a lot of sacrifice when you start getting into these other areas. A lot of sacrifice. You have to have a lot of patience, and you have to have a lot of skill. You don't really necessarily need that much skill to get out there and farm and sell vegetables. You don't really need that much skill. So once again, just like every other niche has the same thing with hardware. Once again, you have your plumber on the front line. You have your plumbing school, you have your doctor on the front line, you have your medical school. You also have people who design materials for the plumber. You got people who create instruments and create tools for the plumber. You got people that create instruments and create tools for the doctor. You have them. Or they create it for the school, and the school uses those tools to teach the plumbers, for them to equip them with the skills and the tools needed to get out there on the front line. They all go together. Everything is to support the front line. Everything is built that way. Same thing in the military. We have your infantrymen, which is the front line. You have people that instruct in the infantrymen and instruct people how to shoot rifles and how correctly target the enemy. And then you have people who manufacture the rifles, people who manufacture the equipment needed to get out there and complete the mission. Everything is all together. You have to have each one of these. You can't just have plumbers out there, or you can't just have aquaponic growers out there. You have to have each one of these elements in order for that niche to survive and to progress. So from there, we have the hardware, and now what we can get into is software. Computer software, this is another major thing that is used, and it's definitely, since technology is improving, a lot of people get into software programming because there's a lot of problems in many niches. Many niches have a lot of issues and a lot of problems, and software is one of the things that can be used to solve that. Now, I haven't seen too many aquaponics softwares out there, but as aquaponics becomes more popular, there's going to be some of you out there who are absolute geniuses in this area. You have a skill with software and you have a passion with aquaponics. That's going to lead a lot of you out there to getting a software developed, because there's a lot of things that could be useful with a software. I know I would purchase a software. If a software that solves problems and make my life easier with aquaponics, I will more than happily purchase a software and pay a monthly fee if it's going to make my life easier. Somebody out there is going to figure it out. Every niche has this. Every niche has a software. I mean, there's softwares right now. They're not directly related to aquaponics, but it's indirectly related to aquaponics. You can have softwares that, matter of fact, I actually know some people out there that are trying to get some softwares developed now that's going to monitor your pH. It's going to monitor your water quality, and you'll be able to go online and check it. You know, it's very, very complicated, but it can be very rewarding if someone gets it down properly. That may be someone out there, that may be your skill set and your passion. That's what you need to go for. But there's other softwares that can help, you know, if you're doing an aquaponic business, other softwares that help you manage your finances, help you manage the amount of seed that you need to buy, help you manage when you need to plant, help you manage, you know, the time and the time of year you need to plant certain crops. There's softwares out there that are useful in that area. So there are softwares out there, and you will need something like that to make your life that much easier. So software is another thing that a lot of people are going to get into. But this is, like I said, all these, other than the front line, these are all difficult and extremely difficult things for people to do on a business level. They're not the easiest things, which is why I say 99% of people are going to go on the front line, and maybe 1% will venture off into one of these other things. But if it's your passion and that's what you're really interested in, that is what's going to make you survive. And you have a knowledge of business, that's what's going to make you survive longer than anyone else that tries to get into one of these ventures. Now, also what we have is retail. You have retail. That is another way that you can make money. Retail stores. Some of you out there I've seen some stores, not particularly with aquaponics, but usually it's more of a general store that sells things for hydroponics, aquaponics, maybe some farming, some general soil farming. Stores that are set up like that, retail stores, depending on the location where you're at. If there's a lot of farmers, they can go to that supply. If that's what you're interested in doing, that's what you like doing, that may be something that you jump into if you want to make money with aquaponics. Also, there's online retail, e-commerce, which is something that we're into right now. We have a store coming out in 2018. We're already working on it. We're in contact with manufacturers. We're in contact with other businesses. We're in contact with a lot of people to get this store going up in 2018, the first quarter. That's another way to make money with aquaponics. So these are some of the more common ways to make money with aquaponics, and it's going to be the same thing in any other niche. It's not because aquaponics is something special. It's the same thing. Business is business. No matter what niche it is, everyone's going to have pretty much these same common ways to make money with aquaponics, and they're all there to support the front line. Everyone is there to support the front line. Without any of these, the front line doesn't serve its purpose and cannot progress. Without the front line, there's no room for any of these, the schools, the manufacturing products, the softwares. There's no room for any of that. So you need the entire package in order for that niche to progress. And that is very important for people to understand. I just want you to understand that, because some of you out there, I see some of you out there, you're building things and you just don't understand, like, oh, this is actually a business model, or I can actually turn this into something that I want to do. Maybe I'm very interested in doing this. I'm not really interested in just selling vegetables, or I'm not really interested in teaching. I'm really interested in just, building systems, installing systems for people, or, doing something along that nature. And then when you get really, really complex with it, then you're able to do multiple of these common methods to make money. That's for another topic we'll talk about on another video. But this is just to open up your mind and let you know that there are different ways out there to support yourself if aquaponics is a passion of yours, and you also have a separate skill set. A separate skill set, because like I said, the school and the teaching, it's its own skill and it's its own a beast. It's totally different from growing food. Just because you can grow with aquaponics does not mean you can get out there and teach and have a school. It's a totally separate skill, all the way separate. Just because you can get out there and grow with aquaponics don't mean you can get out there and build and manufacture systems. It's a totally separate skill. It's a totally separate skill. So just recognize what your skill set is, what your passion is at, and that's where you want to go, and you want to direct most of your energy towards doing, because eventually if you're passionate about it and that's something that you really, really care about and that's your purpose, then you will eventually end up making money. Like I said, this is much harder doing any of these other ones. The supporting cast is much more harder than the frontline cast, much more harder. Before, doing the School of Aquaponics, it took almost 1 year of free videos and free content before I made any money. Almost 1 year. 1 year of putting out free content, because the business model is totally different. It's totally different. Almost 1 year, free content, week after week, putting out new content, setting up a school, setting up emails, setting up all this stuff that goes on along with school. Totally different. When I set up my commercial system and I opened up the gates for people to come in, you know how long it took me to make money? 15 minutes. 15 minutes. That was it. I didn't have to wait 1 year giving out free samples of vegetables and lettuce. People know that they need that already. They know they need vegetables and fruits and things like that. They know they need that. All I had to do was open up the door. The marketing, I didn't even do crazy marketing. Like, the marketing was totally different than marketing for the school. Totally different. All I did was put a sign out there and people were coming in. Like, I didn't even go crazy. I didn't get on the Facebook marketing. I didn't do any social media marketing like you need to do in today's time in order to even succeed, even have a chance at succeeding. You have to be on social media, or else you're just done. You're not even going to make it. But I didn't do any of that, and people were coming in. Just a simple sign out there, and people were coming in. At this time, I was still doing my master's degree for business. I still had a lot of things going on, but it was that easy. 15 minutes, I had my first sale already. Like, people were coming in. People were driving 30 miles to come down here to get vegetables. 30 miles away to come down here and get vegetables. Over here, if I would have kept that, if I still wanted to do that, I would have had a 6-figure business going with just selling vegetables. It was that easy. The easiest money I've ever made in my life was selling vegetables, because there was nothing I had to sell. People are already sold on it for the most part. They're already sold on it for the most part. And there's not really too much competition around here in this area. And there's a lot of people that want vegetables. Now, that's not to say that we won't get a vegetable stand going once again, or get this store going over here once again. I just won't be doing it. I had to pay somebody to do it, because that's not my interest. That's not what I'm interested in. And I had to come to that realization that I don't really want to get out there and sell vegetables. I don't want to do that. But most of you out there, you do want to do that. So go for it. But just know that there's other opportunities in aquaponics, just like there's other opportunities in any other field that you think of. Any other field that you think of, they're going to have the same blueprint and the same different segments of ways to make money. So I want to let you go with that train of thought, and hopefully that it's helped some of you out. Hopefully if it has inspired some of you out there, because I know I see you. I see some of you guys out there building these little systems here, trying to get something going. I see you doing it. I see you. And maybe that is your talent, and maybe that's your passion, and that's what you need to go for. You don't have to be sold and stuck on selling vegetables, because I see a lot of people that try to box people into just selling vegetables. It's a bad business. Is a bad thing with farmers. Farmers are not the best business people. I'm telling you right now. They're not. They're some of the worst business people on earth is farmers, because you're too stuck in the passion of selling vegetables and staying true to that art, and you're not expanding your mind to the endless amount of opportunities out there. we'll talk more about this in some upcoming videos, but hopefully that's helped some of you out. This is Brooklyn St. Michael with the School of Aquaponics. Woo!